I measured what room conditions cause bread to mold.
No.
So
No.
bread rocks
No.
actually increases mold.
No. No. Ugh. All right, welcome back to another School Principal Reacts. This is Brandon, and once again, I'm looking at an episode of Ned's Declassified School Survival Guide. This one is called Science Fair, and in this random still frame, I see Cookie with whatever this is on his arm, and it's interesting. When I pulled this episode up, it looks like I'm getting toward the end of season 2, which I'm excited about. I think there's one more season, and that's it, season 3, although it will take me a long time to get to the very end. But nevertheless, I'm almost there to the end of season 2. I think I have 4 episodes left, including this one, but I'm excited to see what take that this show takes on the science fair. Science fair is definitely a part of school life, and I can't wait to see what Ned does with this. If you're not a subscriber to my channel, especially if you tune in week after week to either my Ned series, my SpongeBob videos, or all of my other content, please do me a favor. I'd consider it a personal favor and subscribe to the channel down below using the button. I do appreciate it.
As you know, the science fair is tomorrow. And everyone is required to do an experiment using the scientific method.
Okay.
What's the scientific method again?
Oh, Ned. I suspect he's going to get mad at this question. Sweeney is not going to like that. Now, the scientific method is very much a part of most science courses, and learning that and how that applies to something like this and making up a hypothesis and all of those things. And yeah, science fair, especially in middle school, is a very big part of student science courses and teachers encouraging students to make an entry in the science fair. I don't remember whether or not it was required in my case. I think at least once, yeah, it was required, and you got a grade for that. I remember, like many other people probably have, putting it off for a long time and then not doing quite so great on the science fair. I really should have worked harder on it. I do remember that vividly, but Ned here asked, what's the scientific method, which they've probably been working on for months. Let's see what Sweeney says here.
Let me explain the method by applying it to you, Mr.
Oh, man, that's probably a potential firing for Sweeney. I don't think he's gotten one before on this show. Actually, he probably should have gotten a couple of them on the detention episode, but that was before the potential firings counter was born. So let's see. I can't read a lot of the small print here, but it has a picture of him, and then it says plus lame science project equals disaster. If this isn't a potential firing, it's at least a discussion and maybe a negative mark on his evaluation. If not a firing, he can get away with not being fired, but there's going to be some disciplinary consequences for Sweeney here if he really did this in front of the class.
Observation. Ned is smart, but lazy. Thus, he is doing poorly in science.
Yeah, and you would never share that in front of the class. Doing it in this way is kind of demeaning to Ned, and it's in front of everyone, and you're saying he's not doing well in front of people. You can't do that, and that's why I would probably say there's a potential firing here for Sweeney. Let's see what else he points out in this little fake project he has.
Hypothesis. Ned will goof around and turn in a sloppy paper towel experiment at the last second. Prediction. Ned's rushed and illegible experiment won't win any ribbon, which brings us to experiment, which is what is going to happen tomorrow when you prove my prediction correct.
And you know, it's funny, I have seen teachers give exemplars like this. In other words, show the class an example project that is really good. You would never do this, though, not in 1,000 years. Do something that's really demeaning to Ned, even if it's true. Like, this may be true because Ned is lazy in this show, but man, this is way too far. Let's see what happens next here.
Does that answer your question, Mr. Bigby?
Science fair.
I'm gonna prove to Sweeney that I rock at science fairs, and I'm not a bad scientist.
Right now, you're more like a mad scientist. Just do the which paper towel is stronger experiment. It's simple and it's a classic.
But it's exactly what Sweeney predicted I would do.
Predicted you would do it poorly, so just do it well.
No,
Okay.
I gotta blow the whole school away, like Cookie does every year.
Where is Cookie? He's usually here by now to annoy us or freak us out or make that
True.
face.
That's pretty good. I do notice his faces. I've never seen them take note of it or anybody in the show comment on it, but they're like imitating it here. Yeah, that's very true.
I'm sorry, Simon, but my grandmother doesn't want me talking to you.
Why?
It may have something to do with you pushing her down the stairs.
Yeah, I was going to say, he pushed her off some stairs and she fell out of a wheelchair because he thought it was her, pretending to be her grandmother, but it was really her grandmother. Ooh, yeah, and many of you guys said, yeah, he should have been arrested, and yeah, it's probably right. But here, I guess they're still talking to each other, but she says, yeah, my grandmother doesn't want me to talk to you, which, under those circumstances, I kind of have to agree with her.
She said you were a monster.
I am not a monster.
Kind of are one right now.
Project.
Grandma wants me going out with a gentleman. Emphasis on gentle.
If I could just meet her again.
I don't know, Simon. I'm sorry.
Bummer.
Awesome. It's all right. Still having a little trouble controlling it.
Blue ribbon winner for sure.
So what? All I really want is Grandma's approval so that Vanessa can hang out.
And I'm not sure what this thing is. I guess it's some sort of super strong arm. And if he's having trouble controlling it, that's really dangerous. Let's see what happens next here.
With me.
Invite her to the science fair. Grandparents love that stuff. And you'll win again, and she'll see how smart you are.
Oh.
It's a great idea.
What?
I gotta find a totally cool blue ribbon science fair project. If you need a science experiment fast, search online. There are tons of sites full of great ones.
Yeah, that is true. Even in this era, you can search online, at least for ideas. You probably don't want to just straight up copy a project because then you don't learn anything. The object of the science fair is to learn. That's the whole point. That's the whole point of the class. And if you're not learning anything, well, that's an issue. And there are students out there, plenty of students that I have met that value the grade itself more than the actual learning, but it shouldn't be that way. You want to do something that you will actually learn from in the process.
Well, I finished the which wood is the strongest experiment last week. Guess which was the strongest?
Is it I don't care wood? Remember, you don't have to break the bank to do a cool experiment. Usually all you need is stuff found around the house or at school.
Yeah, that is true, and a lot of teachers do try and make it that way on purpose. Like, they want students to learn as well, and they don't want it to be a big burden or an expense. So the teacher will a lot of times help students that are having trouble coming up with an idea. They'll encourage them to try one that is easy to do as far as the logistics of it, but you still have to apply, like Sweeney said, the scientific method and go through that process.
Okay, let's test this baby out.
Oh no, that's a little too much. What?
Well, it looks like you've gone from a bad scientist to a mad scientist.
How about some help, Sweeney? How about you help him in some way? That's not a potential firing, but it's not good either. I mean, he needs to be helping him in some way come up with an idea or point him in the right direction.
I got nothing.
But the fair's not until tomorrow. And together, we'll
Tomorrow.
come up with...
Tomorrow. It's tomorrow, and he has nothing. That's not good. Typically, students will work on a science fair project for many weeks, at least from what I remember. But one day, and he's got to put it together in one day, the entire thing, that's not good at all. I'm wondering what is going to happen.
I still have nothing.
Oh, boy.
I have the paper towel experiment for you to do.
And I've got great news. Vanessa's bringing Granny to the science fair.
Oh, boy.
Where I'll prove
Well, he might just smack her with this arm that he can't control, apparently. I'm a little worried about this here.
I'm gentle, selfless, and cute. Don't forget cute.
The only thing I'm gonna prove is I'm a science fair loser.
Not with my maxoskeleton experiment, you won't.
You're giving me your maxoskeleton experiment?
I'm selfless, Ned. And I put friends first. But you'll have to do the written part yourself. Or else that would be cheating. And I'm a man who seeks fairness.
They're too big. How am I gonna demonstrate them at the fair?
Fine.
And now I'll whip up the paper towel experiment. Winning back Vanessa is
Oh,
way
she's
more
gonna
important than
wear it.
winning the science fair.
First lunch. I'm starved.
No time lunch. You practice being Mosebot while I get writing and win the science fair.
Yeah, so I'm a little confused. So what is Cookie going to have for his experiment, and what is Ned going to do? How is he going to write about this experiment that he has no idea how it works or anything like that? That does not seem like a good idea, but let's keep going. Okay, there's Lisa. There's this guy, I forgot his name. There's Missy.
Hey, this
There's
is my
Martin.
nitrous oxide experiment.
I've kind of been missing these characters, these little side characters that are really featured in certain episodes. Like Missy, haven't seen her in a while, haven't seen Lisa Zemo in a while. Martin, I've seen a couple of times, but not a whole lot. And you've got the original characters here. It's really nice. Okay. And I bet this anvil weighs like 1 pound. It's probably some sort of synthetic prop. I don't really know what to call it, but I've seen people make things with foam and other materials where something will look extremely heavy like this, but it weighs like half a pound, and they're just adding the sound effect in later to make it sound really heavy. But it does look pretty heavy here in this scene.
Okay, now I'm totally starved.
I snagged you a snack from my locker.
A snack from his locker. Oh.
It's stuck. It can't open. Relax. It senses tension.
What?
And this is my which paper towel brand
boy.
is the strongest experiment.
Oh, he took that one, which, you know, I guess that's a good idea as far as Cookie goes, because he's not going to accidentally hurt her, which I thought might be the case if he did his original experiment here.
Do you know that Tough Towels brand is stronger than Max Towel?
That's the towels I use. Always have. At least the boy and dumb. I'm hungry now.
Then allow me to escort you ladies to the bake sale for snacks.
So far, so good.
Then.
Nice, Martin. A nitrous oxide greenhouse experiment, or laughing gas, as they call it at the dentist.
Yeah, probably shouldn't have that at school. That worries me a little bit. I'm assuming this is going to come into play at some point in this episode. What?
As you can see, with the
What
help
in the
of
world?
robotics, one can travel twice as fast and twice as far as a normal human.
What in the world?
All I can say is, perhaps you're not a bad or mad scientist after all. You might even win a ribbon.
And he believes that he came up with this in 1 day or less than a day. I don't think I would believe that, but let's see what happens next here.
But the final judging isn't until a while yet. But, wow.
And by the way, students do get a grade as far as their class for completing their project, but there also is the competitive nature of science fair. Typically, you will award a school winner, and then the school winners go on to like a district and state science fair, and there may be even a national science fair. I've never been quite that far or with any of my former students, but there is a competitive nature to it. That is true, where students are competing against each other for the best science project.
Ooh-wee, walnut
sale.
brown is my favorite. I could eat them all day.
Me too. Isn't that funny?
What?
Vanessa, would you wheel me over there? I want to see which wood is the strongest.
What? Oh no, she's gonna
Anything
destroy
you
it.
want? My treat.
Ow, my arm.
Oh no. That's what I was afraid of, that she was just gonna wreck the whole thing. It looks like this nice little display of treats and she's gonna just wreck it. She needs to take this thing off and get rid of it, really.
Oh, my leg! My leg! Ow!
If the legs get out of control, hit the reset button.
Reset.
And do not get them wet, because they can short circuit.
Oh man. No. Don't do it.
Those walnut brownies were delicious.
You're allergic to walnuts.
I know, but Vanessa's grandma loves them.
So he's allergic, and he's just like, oh, I know, but Vanessa's grandma likes them, so whatever. Hopefully he doesn't have some sort of reaction here.
I'm hoping I outgrew my allergy.
Outgrew it? Yeah.
You
Oh,
didn't outgrow it.
that's awful.
No, Grandma's gonna think I'm a monster for real. What am I gonna do?
Just stay behind Granny and on the left side of Vanessa until the end of the fair.
Right. And I'll go to the vending machines to get some food.
No, it's almost time for judging. Most might come.
Hey guys, check out my static experiment. My gorgeous blonde hair stands up straight with static in it. It's like the ultimate mousse.
Okay. Fresh bread.
Hey, can I check out Lisa's experiment?
Just for a
Oh
second.
no, that doesn't sound good. I don't know what kind of experiment she's doing with bread. I suspect it's something with mold or something else. She really needs to stay away from that for sure. There are a lot of dangers in this episode when you really think about it. No, don't do it.
Yeah, hi, Jennifer.
Lisa, hi.
Don't do it.
I was just checking out your experiment. It's
I think it says
fascinating.
mold.
Tell me more about it.
I measured what room conditions cause bread to
no.
mold. Mold loves the
No,
dark, so
no,
a bread box
no.
actually increases mold.
Fascinating. Bye.
No. No. Ugh. And you know, I know it's not real, but there's still something about seeing that that's just really disgusting. And I've said before, like, these actors have to do a lot of disgusting things in this show. I hope they get paid a lot.
Where'd you get the green bread?
Ugh. Ugh. Oh, okay. So the second that Cookie said, don't get it wet, I'm like, of course she's going to get it wet. I just don't know how. I haven't seen any water. So here's where it gets wet, and I'm assuming it's not going to work anymore. Goodness, this episode is full of problems, but let's keep going.
Is everything okay, Simon?
Oh, no.
Yeah, I just like to keep those dear to me on my right side.
Oh, I always love to walk on Vanessa's grandfather's left side. I have to admit, I see a lot of him in you.
Oh,
Yes, score! How nice.
Why aren't you wearing the leg bionics?
I think I have to go to the nurse's office.
What? But there'll be no one here to demonstrate for the judging.
If I don't leave now, I'm gonna leave an experiment all over you.
what now?
Cookie, Mose went to barf and I need you to get in the maxoskeleton for this judging.
Ladies, my friend needs my help. I hope you understand.
A man needs to help his friends. It shows dedication.
Okay.
Simon, maybe you're not a monster after all.
I thought he was going to say no, and maybe he was going to, but now that she approves, all of a sudden he wants to help. And it's funny, he's turning, one way, so they'll only see his good side, almost like he's Two-Face from Batman. It's pretty funny.
We'll meet you guys over there.
Did you get this wet?
Yes, he did.
Well, I must say, I was wrong. And it would take something pretty convincing to not give Ned Bigby this year's blue ribbon.
Oh, boy.
And that would be it.
I'm out of control.
Yeah, and I was going to say, maybe, I don't know, some sort of expulsion or alternative school or something. But, it's probably an accident. It was an accident. Now, there would be a pretty heavy discussion about that with him and with his parents, and they would probably have to go through, okay, here's exactly what happened, and here's how we arrived at this situation, and I would not be optimistic about the rest of the class at that point, but, I mean, the truth is that was an accident, and, he can't be held accountable in the same way that he would if it was intentional. But let's keep going.
It's the reset button.
The reset button. Oh, no. Yeah, and the second that they featured that gas, of course, we knew that gas was going to make an appearance. I just didn't know how or when. But there it is. I'm not sure how it's going to affect Ned or what it's going to do to everyone here, but let's find out. Oh, no. Oh, no. Okay. There it is. I'm like, why are they putting this together? But so he can look like a mad scientist, quote unquote, with the hair standing up and everything. It's sort of the trifecta here to make him look like this, all zany and laughing and with his hair standing up. It's just silly, but it is pretty funny.
He's a mad scientist.
Sure looks like it.
What's this experiment?
No. Okay. So, sorry, just the way Cookie did that, it was just a little too much, even for Ned's. But you've got Ned screaming and hollering here, and you've got Cookie acting like a Frankenstein's monster. How are they going to fix this, I wonder? Or are they? No.
Did I miss something?
Yes. Reset button.
One last science fair tip. To avoid malfunctions, there's no need to be super ambitious, because teachers only want to see you use the scientific method.
Yeah, that is true. I heard the music and I'm like, okay, we're getting another tip. So that is very true. You don't have to be really ambitious in terms of what your experiment or project is. But yeah, the teachers do want to see the scientific method and see you apply that to whatever it is, whatever the problem is, or whatever your hypothesis is. I'm not an expert on it myself, but I know that much is certainly true.
And the blue ribbon goes to Simon's paper towel experiment because of its excellent use of the scientific method and for the fact that it's the only thing still standing.
True. Ugh, that's awful. All right, well, that's the episode. I enjoyed that one. The science fair, I have seen and participated in a few science fairs in my time. Didn't do particularly well on them, but that was because of my own procrastination and nothing more. But I do have to say I've never experienced anything even remotely close to what I saw in this episode. But the science fair is very real, and the way they have it set up here in terms of how it looks and some of the things that Mr. Sweeney asked them to do is very realistic. Of course, all the other stuff really was not, as far as the bionic arm or whatever it was and them destroying the whole entire thing. But it was pretty funny, you have to admit. Once again, if you're not a subscriber to the channel, but you tune in to my content week after week, be sure and hit the subscribe button below and turn on notifications so you don't miss any of my future content. I'm going to leave the video right here and wrap it up. I'll see you on the next one here on School Principal Reacts. Thanks for watching.